Britney Spears, the pop icon who once ruled the charts, became the epitome of fame and fortune. With her unforgettable hits, mesmerizing performances, and timeless style, she was a symbol of success. But behind the glitz and glamour, there was a darker side to her story. Britney, once a princess of pop, was soon trapped in a legal battle that controlled every aspect of her life. From being a free-spirited performer to becoming a prisoner under a conservatorship, her journey was one of heartbreak, struggle, and the fight to regain her freedom. Like, share, and subscribe to honor her fight for freedom. Britney Spears was not just a pop star, she was an era-defining icon. Her music, her dances, her look, everything about Britney screamed superstardom. From the moment she burst onto the scene with "Baby One More Time," the world fell in love with her. She was America's sweetheart, the girl next door who could sing, dance, and capture hearts effortlessly. But beneath the dazzling lights and the adoration of millions, there was a woman struggling to maintain control over her own life. Behind the smiles and the performances, a darker truth was slowly emerging, a truth that would break her. Once a symbol of freedom, Britney found herself shackled by forces far beyond her control. A conservatorship that stripped her of her autonomy. Medications that took away her will. Financial control that left her powerless. Her life, which once seemed full of promise, was slowly slipping away into a prison of her own making, one built not by her, but for her. This is not just the story of a pop star. It is the story of a human being trapped under the weight of fame, family, and a legal system that took away her voice. Her struggles, her public breakdowns, her fight for freedom, and her emotional plea for control are a heartbreaking reminder of the cost of being in the spotlight. As we journey through Britney's life, we will dive deep into the moments that led to her downfall, the pain she endured, and the incredible strength it took to fight back. Before we begin, hit that like button and subscribe to support Britney's resilience and honor her struggle for freedom. You won't want to miss this emotional ride. Born on December 2nd, 1981 in Macomb, Mississippi, Britney Jean Spears was destined for stardom from an early age. Raised in a modest home by her parents, Jamie and Lynn, Britney's childhood was far from the glamorous life that would later come to define her. The Spears family was financially struggling, and Britney's parents, both with dreams of a better life for their daughter, sacrificed what they could to support her budding career. From the start, her family knew she was something special, and they pushed her towards achieving her dreams, even when that meant uprooting their lives for her future. At a young age, Britney showed an extraordinary talent for singing and dancing. By the time she was 8, she was already performing in local talent shows, often winning top prizes. Her love for performing became clear, and it was during these early years that Britney first tasted the spotlight. However, her family's financial struggles were ever present, and the dream of a better life was always a driving force. It was clear that Britney's talent could be her ticket out of the hardships they faced. At age 11, she moved to New York to audition for a role in the Broadway musical Ruthless. It wasn't long before she made her way to the Mickey Mouse Club, where she worked alongside future stars like Christina Aguilera, Justin Timberlake, and Ryan Gosling. Although her time on the Mickey Mouse Club was short-lived, it would serve as a crucial stepping stone, introducing her to the entertainment industry's machine, setting the stage for her meteoric rise. Britney's family, particularly her mother, would become her greatest supporters, pushing her through the intense pressures of auditions, rehearsals, and the overwhelming expectations of a young girl in a cutthroat industry. Yet, despite her success in show business, Britney's childhood was not without its struggles. As a young girl, she was constantly thrust into adult situations, often with little protection from the pressures of fame. The journey to stardom wasn't easy, and it was clear that even in her early years, Britney was walking a path full of obstacles. Her father, Jamie Spears, played a crucial role in pushing Britney into the limelight, though it wasn't without controversy. Some believed his aggressive approach to managing her career was beneficial, while others felt it was overbearing. The family dynamic, particularly with her father, would later become a key part of her adult life and struggles, as their relationship grew more complex and fraught with tension. While Britney's early years were filled with promise, they were also tinged with sacrifice. Her childhood was not one of typical youthfulness. Instead of going to school dances and playing with friends, she was rehearsing, auditioning, and constantly preparing for the next big step in her career. In retrospect, it's clear that while Britney's talent and charisma earned her fame, they also took a toll on her mental and emotional well-being. As she continued to rise through the ranks of the entertainment industry, her family's dreams were realized, but at what cost? Britney's experiences were not isolated. Many child stars face a similar loss of innocence, forced to grow up far too quickly. Britney's story would soon evolve from the tale of a young girl chasing her dreams to that of a woman struggling to maintain her identity amidst the crushing weight of fame. As the world watched her grow from a young talent to an international superstar, it became apparent that behind the polished performances and perfect image was a young woman with a great deal of pressure, expectations, and personal struggles waiting to surface. Britney's rise to stardom is a story of sheer determination, raw talent, and the kind of explosive success that most only dream of. After her time on the Mickey Mouse Club, where she worked alongside future superstars like Christina Aguilera and Justin Timberlake, Britney's career began to truly take off. She wasn't just another pop star in the making, she was the future of pop music. In 1998, at just 16 years old, Britney Spears released her debut single, Baby One More Time, and the world would never be the same. The song became an instant hit, topping charts worldwide and becoming one of the best-selling singles of all time. The accompanying music video featuring Britney in a schoolgirl outfit became iconic, catapulting her to superstardom. The infectious melody, coupled with her undeniable charm, made her a household name. What followed was nothing short of legendary. Her debut album, Baby One More Time, shattered records, sold millions of copies, and introduced the world to the princess of pop. From that moment on, Britney was everywhere, on TV, in magazines, on the radio. She was adored by millions of fans and became the face of a new wave of pop music that dominated the turn of the millennium. Britney's success didn't stop with her debut. Her second album, Oops, I Did It Again, released in 2000, further cemented her place in pop history. The album went multi-platinum and included hits like Oops, I Did It Again, and Stronger, songs that would go on to define her legacy. The world watched as Britney evolved from the sweet, innocent girl next door to a sultry, confident performer. She wasn't just making music. She was creating a movement, setting trends, and influencing pop culture in a way few artists could ever dream of. Her live performances became a major part of her brand. Britney's tours were massive successes, and her stage presence was magnetic. She danced, she sang, and she captivated audiences in a way that felt both personal and larger than life. The press coverage was relentless, but so were her fans. Every move Britney made was dissected, and yet, despite the constant spotlight, she remained the face of pop music, pushing boundaries and embracing the role of a cultural icon. By the time she was in her early 20s, Britney was at the peak of her career. She had everything a pop star could dream of: fame, fortune, influence, and a loyal fan base. Her image, once crafted to fit the mold of the girl next door, began to evolve into something bolder and more daring. In 2001, she made headlines with her provocative performances, including her unforgettable MTV Video Music Awards performance, where she shared a kiss with Madonna. It was a defining moment in pop culture, controversial, yet undeniably powerful. But as Britney continued to rise in the public eye, the pressures of fame began to mount. The world wanted more from her, more music, more performances, more of her. And she delivered. But the cost of this endless cycle of production and perfection was beginning to weigh heavily on her. In her personal life, Britney had her share of public relationships, with her highly publicized romance and engagement to pop star Justin Timberlake taking center stage for much of the early 2000s. Their relationship was adored by fans and fueled by the media, with the two often seen as the golden couple of the pop world. But as with many young stars, the pressures of fame and personal life became overwhelming, and their relationship eventually ended in 2002. The breakup was widely publicized, and it marked the beginning of a series of personal struggles that would ultimately contribute to the unraveling of her carefully crafted image. While Britney's professional life was thriving, the cracks in her personal life began to show. In 2004, she shocked the world when she married childhood friend Jason Allen Alexander in a surprise ceremony in Las Vegas, only for the marriage to be annulled just 55 hours later. Later that same year, she married backup dancer Kevin Federline, which further fueled the media frenzy surrounding her personal life. The couple had 2 children, Sean Preston and Jaden James, but their marriage quickly became the subject of public scrutiny. The pressure to balance her career, her marriage, and motherhood was taking its toll. As Britney's fame grew, so did the demands of her personal life. She was no longer just a pop star, she was a media spectacle, her every move scrutinized by the public. The intense media attention and the pressures of maintaining her perfect image began to affect her mental and emotional well-being. Despite her best efforts, the cracks in her facade became harder to hide. She was human, and the world was not always kind to her. In 2007, Britney Spears' life took a dramatic turn. The constant pressure of fame, coupled with the struggles in her personal life, led to a public breakdown that would dominate the headlines. In the midst of a divorce, custody battles, and relentless media attention, Britney made headlines for shaving her head, attacking a photographer's car with an umbrella, and entering a rehab facility multiple times. It was clear that Britney, the pop princess, was spiraling out of control. Despite the chaos, Britney's career continued. In 2008, she released her 5th studio album, Circus, which included hits like Womanizer and If You Seek Amy. The album marked a return to form, and while it was successful commercially, it was clear that the Britney we once knew was no longer the same. Despite the turbulence in her personal life, Britney Spears' career continued to soar. In the late 2000s and early 2010s, she managed to regain some of the momentum that had once made her the face of pop music. Though she faced public ridicule and media scrutiny, she proved time and again that her talent and work ethic could not be overshadowed. In 2008, following her highly publicized breakdown, Britney released Circus, an album that marked her return to the spotlight. With hits like Womanizer and If You Seek Amy, the album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart and earned Britney critical acclaim for her ability to come back from the brink. The album's success proved that Britney still had the ability to captivate audiences, even as her personal life continued to make headlines. The release of Circus was followed by a series of tours and live performances that reminded the world why Britney had been at the top of her game in the first place. Her Femme Fatale tour in 2011 was a massive success, with sold-out performances across the globe. Britney may have been dealing with personal turmoil, but she never let her audience down. She was the epitome of professionalism when it came to her live performances, always delivering flawless shows that showcased her incredible talent. In 2012, she continued her career resurgence by becoming a judge on the hit TV show The X Factor. Her involvement in the show marked another significant shift in her career. While her time as a judge on the show was short-lived, it allowed her to connect with a new generation of fans, and it also gave the public a chance to see a different side of Britney, one that was more grounded, professional, and relatable than ever before. Her presence on the show was a reminder of her influence in the entertainment world, even as she struggled with personal battles behind closed doors. But the true testament to Britney's perseverance came in 2013 with the launch of her Piece of Me residency in Las Vegas. For the first time in her career, Britney took up a permanent residency in the entertainment capital of the world. Piece of Me was not only a success in terms of ticket sales, but it was a massive milestone for Britney, who had once been thought of as a pop star in decline. The residency showed that Britney was not just a flash in the pan, she was a true performer who had earned her place in the annals of music history. In addition to her musical success, Britney's cultural influence was undeniable. Her image, her style, and her music videos were emulated by countless artists who came after her. She had a hand in shaping pop culture, and her impact extended far beyond music. From her iconic schoolgirl look in the Embo Baby One More Time video to her role in shaping the cultural conversation about celebrity and fame, Britney was a force to be reckoned with. Despite everything, Britney was always about more than just her music. She became a symbol of strength for those who had faced public humiliation, mental health struggles, and the overwhelming pressures of fame. Her comeback was more than just about music, it was about reclaiming her narrative, her life, and her autonomy. Britney's legacy is not just tied to her chart-topping hits and iconic performances. It's about the resilience she showed in the face of overwhelming adversity. In a world that often demands perfection, Britney was a woman who stumbled, fell, and then found the strength to rise again. She proved that even when life seemed to be tearing her apart, her passion for performing and her love for her fans would always keep her going. But as Britney's career continued to flourish, her personal life descended into chaos. The story of Britney Spears' conservatorship is one of the most tragic aspects of her life, one that would forever alter the trajectory of her career and her sense of self. In 2007, Britney Spears' public breakdowns became the stuff of tabloid fodder. Shaving her head, attacking a photographer's car with an umbrella, and engaging in erratic behavior, these were just a few of the infamous moments that became headlines around the world. But what the media didn't see was the immense pressure Britney was under. The demands of fame, the constant scrutiny, and the struggles of dealing with mental health issues were far too much for her to bear on her own. In early 2008, after a series of mental health crises, Britney was placed under a court-mandated conservatorship. Her father, Jamie Spears, was appointed her conservator, gaining control over Britney's finances, career, and even her personal decisions. This legal arrangement meant that Britney, a grown woman, no longer had control over her life. Her father made all the major decisions, including her medication, finances, and even personal relationships. At first, the conservatorship was framed as a temporary measure to help Britney recover and regain stability. However, it quickly became clear that this was not just a protective step. It was a system of control. Over the next 13 years, Britney fought to free herself from the conservatorship, but for much of that time, she was powerless to make any significant changes. The conservatorship stifled every part of Britney's life. She was forced to take medications, perform on demand, and was under constant surveillance. Every decision, from her personal relationships to her finances, was scrutinized by the people around her. While she continued to work, performing on stage and releasing music, her sense of freedom was shattered. Britney's public breakdowns became a symbol of how fame can consume a person, but behind the scenes, it was clear that her battle was much deeper. For years, Britney's fans rallied behind her, and the Free Britney movement began to gain traction. Fans, celebrities, and advocates began to speak out against the conservatorship, calling for Britney to be freed from the control that had dominated her life for so long. But it wasn't until 2021, when Britney gave a powerful testimony in court, that the full extent of her suffering came to light. In a heartbreaking plea, Britney described the horrors of living under the conservatorship and begged the court to allow her to make her own decisions. After years of public battles, legal struggles, and emotional testimony, Britney Spears' fight for freedom finally bore fruit in 2021. In a moment that was decades in the making, the court ruled to terminate the conservatorship that had controlled every aspect of her life for 13 years. The Free Britney movement, which had garnered widespread support, celebrated this victory as not just a win for Britney, but for personal freedom, autonomy, and justice. For the first time in over a decade, Britney was free. But the road to freedom was far from easy, and the scars of her long years under control would not fade overnight. Britney's victory was not only a legal win, it was an emotional and personal one. She had fought tirelessly for the right to make her own decisions, for the ability to reclaim her voice, her life, and her power. The weight of the conservatorship was a constant presence in her life, and the damage it had done, both emotionally and psychologically, was undeniable. Despite regaining control of her finances, career, and personal life, Britney's legacy was forever marked by the years she spent fighting for her freedom. Her story became a powerful symbol of resilience, not just for herself, but for many who feel trapped by systems that strip away their autonomy. Britney's courage in speaking out about the horrors she endured was an inspiration to countless others. reminding them that even in the face of overwhelming odds, there is always hope for liberation. Britney's journey was also a reminder that fame comes at a steep price. While the world admired her from afar, Britney's story revealed the often painful reality of being under constant public scrutiny and control. She was a pop icon, yet she was reduced to a prisoner, her every move dictated by others. The world watched as she fought to reclaim her identity, and in the end, she won. Now, as she moves forward in her life, Britney is taking the time to rediscover herself. Though the scars of the past remain, she is no longer bound by the system that once controlled her every decision. For the first time in years, Britney can focus on her own happiness, her own dreams, and her own future. Britney's journey is not over, it's only just beginning. She has been through unimaginable challenges, but she has emerged stronger, with a new sense of freedom and empowerment. Her story is one of survival, of finding strength in the face of adversity, and of never giving up, no matter how difficult the road may seem. As she moves into the next chapter of her life, Britney has become a symbol of hope for others who feel oppressed by systems that aim to control them. Her legacy will not just be defined by her music, but by her bravery in the face of injustice. Britney Spears is free, and her journey of self-discovery and healing has just begun. Britney Spears' life is a testament to the power of resilience, the importance of personal freedom, and the need for societal change. From a pop icon to a prisoner of her own life, Britney's story is one of survival against all odds. The conservatorship, which once controlled every aspect of her existence, is now a thing of the past. But the scars from those years remain, a stark reminder of the cost of fame and the price of autonomy. Despite everything she endured, Britney's story is one of triumph. She fought for her freedom, and in the end, she won. Her bravery in the face of adversity has inspired millions, and her journey serves as a reminder that no matter how difficult the path, there is always hope for a better future. As Britney moves forward in her life, we can only imagine what the next chapter will bring. She has shown the world that it is possible to rise from the ashes, to reclaim one's life, and to emerge stronger than before. Britney's legacy will live on, not just through her music, but through her fight for justice, her courage, and her resilience. Let's continue to support her as she embraces her newfound freedom. And to everyone out there who feels trapped or oppressed, remember there is always hope, and you too can find your way out. What do you think of Britney's journey? How does her story inspire you? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories like hers.